The Tale of Misty Woods. This is it, our first destination in Genreland, on our quest to save the genres from the shadow of monotony. Misty Woods, home of the mystery and suspense genre. Ooh, I can feel the intrigue of this place already. The thrill of the chase through fog-laden streets, the satisfaction of connecting the dots before the grand reveal. Well, we're in luck because today we've got a mystery of our own to solve. The mysterious disappearance of Storyweaver the Bard. First, let's listen to this musical cue from Storyweaver himself, singing to us through the tome of tales.
Get thee brave souls to where mysteries are veiled, each shadow a clue on dear Storyweaver's trail.
Huh, that can't be the end of the song. That's it, Mia! To complete the tale, we have to investigate the mystery genre. In the process, we'll uncover what happened to Storyweaver the missing bard and save our first genre from being consumed by the shadow of monotony. We'll need to use our full powers of literary deduction to crack this case. The game's afoot. On our quest to solve the mystery of Storyweaver's disappearance, you'll learn to summarize the plot structure that mysteries typically follow, explain how narrative elements like setting, mood, and conflict contribute to a mystery's suspense, and analyze how a mystery is enhanced by a reader's engagement with the story. But before we start, what is a mystery? Well, the mystery genre is centered around solving a puzzle or crime. Mysteries are filled with suspense, clues, and often a surprising twist. So, detectives, let's take a closer look and find out what makes these mystery stories so compelling and see if we can use our knowledge to solve our own mystery of the missing bard here in Misty Woods. First, let's look at a mystery's basic structure. The details in mystery stories vary, but the basic plot is often very similar. There's typically a clever detective character who solves a crime or mystery, often committed by a human antagonist, like a criminal mastermind. The detective gathers clues by investigating evidence from a crime scene or interviewing witnesses, people who saw the crime, and suspects, people who might be guilty. A mystery's inciting incident, which sets the story events into motion, usually introduces a key question that both the main character and the reader seek to answer. A question like, what really happened here? Or who committed this crime? Throughout a mystery's plot, there are usually numerous unexpected twists and turns, keeping readers on the edge of their seats. The climax of a mystery story is the big reveal, where the detective finally solves the mystery. Key questions presented at the beginning of the story are finally answered, revealing the true nature of the crime or the antagonist's identity. This often includes a surprising plot twist that the reader didn't see coming. In the resolution that follows, any antagonists may finally be brought to justice. The detective usually explains in more detail how they solved the mystery, laying out the evidence and reasoning that led them to their conclusions, also called their deductions. Now, to practice identifying these character and plot elements, let's use our mystery story, the one we're in right now. Read the passage in your PDF and answer these questions. Who are the key characters in the story, and what roles do they play? What key question do the main characters and the reader seek to answer in this plot? Pause now to read the story, or listen to the audio file in your PDF, and answer the questions. Then resume when you're ready. Our key characters so far are Caroline and Mia, the brave detectives, and Storyweaver the bard, the person who's disappeared. The key question here is simple. Where is Storyweaver? That's a mystery we're still trying to figure out. Now that you're familiar with the basic plot structure of a mystery, let's dive in a little deeper and explore the feelings that mystery stories evoke and why those feelings are so effective. Mystery writers use narrative elements like setting, mood, and conflict to create a sense of suspense and tension in their stories. This allows readers to engage with and feel deeply immersed in the mystery, anticipating what might happen next. The setting, which provides the backdrop for a mystery, often creates an ominous, foreboding atmosphere. Think foggy Victorian city streets, dusty old mansions with hidden rooms, or a cramped train filled with suspicious characters. As characters explore a mysterious setting, readers should pay close attention to the setting's description. That's because in a mystery, every tiny detail is a potential clue or a potential danger. Like setting, mood also helps create the emotional atmosphere of a mystery. Mystery writers often use rich language and sensory details to create a suspenseful or scary mood. The speed at which the mystery story progresses helps develop its mood too. For instance, quick, short sentences can create a feeling of tension, while longer, more descriptive paragraphs might build a slow, creeping uneasiness. This is called pacing, by the way, and you can find it used in other genres as well. Finally, let's talk about the role of conflict in mystery. Remember Unit 1, where we learned that characters may struggle against nature, society, technology, other characters, and even themselves. What conflict types do you think are most likely to show up in a mystery? Well, the main detective is often trying to track down a criminal, which creates a clear character versus character conflict. Also, mysteries often use a character versus self conflict. That's because a detective protagonist must overcome their own doubts, confusion, and lack of knowledge by constantly seeking satisfying answers. In both of these conflict types, all these confusing clues, unanswered questions, and dangerous antagonists build tension, making the protagonist even more determined to discover the truth. And it's not just the characters who want to figure things out, the reader does too. That's where the power of reader engagement enhances mysteries and makes them really immersive and unique. Mysteries invite readers to become part of the story. Readers are not just observers sitting back and watching what happens. They're active participants. You get to solve the puzzle alongside the protagonist, maybe even before they do. That's why a great mystery gives you every clue you need to try and solve the case yourself, like a real detective. But it also keeps the answer tricky enough that when it's finally revealed, you're super impressed and satisfied by how smart the detective is, and the writer too. Now that you know more about suspense and tension in mystery stories, let's take another look at our mystery passage. This time, answer these questions. Why is this setting a good choice for a mystery story? Which words or phrases do you think contribute to the ominous mood of the story? What type of conflict do you see in this story so far? Pause here and resume when you're ready. I think A Misty Woods is a perfect mystery setting because it's dark, we're alone, or so we think, and natural elements like shadows and fog help create an uneasy feeling. You might have noticed words and phrases like silent ghosts, uneasily, or shiver help contribute to our ominous mood. We can see a character versus self-conflict as Caroline and Mia struggle against their fear of the forest. You could also say that our broader fight against the shadow of monotony represents a character versus character conflict. Well done! But we're not out of the woods yet. Literally. Now, my fellow detectives, we've got everything we need to solve the mystery of Storyweaver the Bard's disappearance. Pause the video here and reread the story. Underline any clues that point us to where Storyweaver the Bard has gone, and write down your final deduction. That's it! You've solved the case. Some clues you might have noticed include the torn purple fabric, which seems to be part of the bard's cloak. We also found footprints leading north, where the castle is, and a note in the bard's writing style mentioning a shadow and being surrounded by crowns and stone. All these clues lead us to believe that Storyweaver the Bard was kidnapped and taken to the castle, where the shadow of monotony is the strongest. Hey, wait! The tome is singing again.
In this twisting case, our detective so keen use deduction to solve my mystery
Thanks to us, the tale of Misty Woods is complete. You've mastered the mystery genre in all its cryptic twists and turns. We'll need to continue exploring the other lands of genre in order to get to the castle so we can free Storyweaver the Bard. In the meantime, we can use the Tome of Tales to guide us. In fact, I see a hint of our next genre over there, like a strange, otherworldly portal beckoning us into a future dimension. We'd better check that out in our next lesson. Until then, remember, every story is a new horizon. See you next time.
Hey, hey.